So I'll go ahead and start here. I studied abroad in Barcelona, Spain, and I did this in 2012. So I didn't include a lot of numbers about how much it cost and how I financed it, because I'm sure that those numbers have now changed since that was almost 8 years ago. But I will say that at the time, the travel for that trip was actually about $6,500. And that's because I wasn't there for a full semester. I was actually only there for a month. It's actually a total of 6 weeks, but my program was 4.5 weeks long. And so it was a little bit more affordable than other programs that are semester long or even year long. But that's something that I had always dreamt about. And so even just for 1 month, I thought that was sufficient to get that out of my system. And I also needed to plan around my academic school year because I was an RA, and so I depended on that to cover my housing and my meal plan and all that kind of stuff while I was in college. So I needed to make sure that I had something that would work both with my degree, and my other responsibilities while in college. So I found this program at Barcelona, Spain, through what I think was called the Barcelona International College. But before choosing this one, I had also looked at some programs in Costa Rica, Ecuador, and Prague. And that's because all of them had business courses that I could use towards my major. And 3 of them had also Spanish. I ended up choosing Barcelona because it had the most flexibility calendar-wise for what I needed, because their program started in July and I got out of school in June. So that worked out really well. So I wanted to just cover a couple different aspects about study abroad that I think are the main drivers for me, at least as someone who wanted to travel. And one of them was getting immersed in the culture of the country that I was going to be in. So I actually had the option of choosing to live in dorms with other students, most of them from America. But the other option was to live with the host family. And that's a mixed bag because your experience is going to depend a lot on the family that you stay with. And I was very fortunate to stay with this very, very humble, very welcoming family who had been taking in international students for a very long time. And so while I was there, I actually got to meet another student from Memphis, 2 students from India, and then right at the very tail end of my trip, 2 students from England. And all the family there, they had 2 children, and they were Catalan, so they were native to that part of Spain, and they have their own very unique culture. It's a little different to other parts of Spain. So they spoke Catalan, Spanish, and the kids were actually learning English as well. So it was interesting to hear them practice and connect with them on that. The other really cool aspect of studying abroad is, at least for me, because I was in this program that took in students from all around the world, I got to make friends from all around the world. In the college that I was in, there were students from Brazil, from Australia, from other parts of Europe, and many different parts of the US. There were some from Mexico, and what other countries? There were just several people from different countries, and it was just really cool to all come together and learn about each other's cultures and traditions and just have fun and go on these outings together. So that made the experience a whole lot better because from the get-go, I had friends. I had established friendships with people, and so I got to experience this new place with all these different people. And I would take classes with a lot of them. We would get together after class and do some homework together. So it really felt like there was a sense of community, which was really important for me while I was there. So this is the college that I was in, the Barcelona International College. And it was actually a small building. So I say small, it was a 3-story building, but it was kind of narrow. So a lot of the buildings in Barcelona are kind of built up, and they're kind of smushed with a bunch of other buildings all around them, and there's so much going on. But our building was about 3 floors. I would say about 12 classrooms, and so throughout the day they'd have like each classroom would have like 3 different classes. So there wasn't a whole lot to choose from, but I was able to choose the classes that I needed that would go towards my major, so that those credits would eventually transfer back to my college, which was Western Oregon University. And the international college that I was in was a part of this grouping from this, what you see here, it says N4X. They have a couple of different programs within them. Yeah, and so it was just part of the city. So like the college I was in, as soon as I got out, I could go out and explore the city, which was always so fun. The culinary aspect of traveling abroad is always so interesting because even though you might miss the food you had at home, it's also a really great time to experiment with different foods. I never thought I liked squid, and just having been there and trying it, I actually ended up really liking it. And just trying different foods that I normally wouldn't eat. I ended up really liking a lot of the foods there, and I kind of miss some of them because I can't find them here. The cultural events, so outside of the classes that I took, I really loved just exploring the city and going sightseeing, going to the museums and exploring different aspects of the local culture. And so here I just displayed a couple of images about some of the events and places I went and things I saw. On the top left is, it was from a festival, and it wasn't actually in Barcelona. It was just south of Barcelona in Valencia. They had the Festival de los Monstruos y Cabezudos, which translates to the Festival of the Monsters and the Big Head Beasts, I think. And so it's just a tradition that they have every year. They have this big festival, and people will put together these like giant beast looking things with like gladiators, and they come in playing music, and everyone's just cheering and like look like, I don't know exactly where that tradition originates, but it was a really cool, totally different type of experience that I hadn't seen before. In the lower left, you see some of the traditional Catalan attire that is worn, or that was worn more traditionally in that part of Spain. And then in the middle, you see the castellers, which is like human castles, which is a big tradition. And I got to, I actually stumbled upon this happening in one of the streets where there was 2 groups that were practicing their castellers for their festivals. And so they had sort of like a local competition while they were practicing. So it was really cool to see that. I got to see local music performers that would walk the streets, and at night, every now and then you'd see different like fireworks shows and stuff, people attracting all the tourists. Yeah, so it was a really great experience to see all these different things that I wouldn't normally see here at home. The sightseeing, just the architecture of Europe is so different from the ancient architecture that you'd see with the castles to the modern architecture that is present there. There's so much art, so there's a lot of rich history in art and famous artists, and so getting to see a lot of those things in person was really cool. And that's pretty much all I had to share in images, but I do want to share a little bit more about studying abroad. So gearing up to this this experience, I did have to take almost a full year in advance for planning, because I needed to find that program that fit my timing, that fit my budget, that fit the other aspects that I was looking for. So I actually didn't choose Prague because I was hoping for a place with the beach, something tropical. So when I thought about Costa Rica and Ecuador, that's one of the big things that I was attracted to. Barcelona was kind of a compromise because they have their own beaches. It's not as tropical, but it was still really nice to be there with their own man-made beaches. And just the fact that they had the courses that I needed to go towards my majors. Because it was in the summer, I saw it as getting ahead, because those were credits that then I wouldn't have to worry about during the regular school year. So I was able to actually lighten up my credit load after that, because I was already well past being on track to graduate on time. Like I could have actually graduated early, but because I had already a commitment through my contracts for working with housing. I just lowered my credit load, and my average was closer to 12 credits than it was when I first started, which was around 15 credits a term. Um, so yeah, why would I study abroad? I think just the cultural opportunities, being able to challenge your views on how you see the world, just the way of life in Barcelona was so different to what I normally see here. Even just getting around town, being able to travel through the subways, not something I see here. You know, we're all driving our individual vehicles. Their mass transportation system there was just incredible. I could get to any part of the city within 15 minutes, and it was really affordable. Um, the lifestyle there was just a little bit more relaxed. Um, yeah, there's just so many different things to see, and I really appreciated that experience. I feel like it helped me grow as an individual, and I will say there were times where that it was kind of tough because there was this culture shock of like, oh, I don't know what the cultural norms here are like. So I need to really pay attention to make sure I don't goof up and do something that's not socially acceptable or wrong. Although things there are a lot more free. I like just being on the beach. I wasn't aware that all their beaches were technically like nude. Anyone could be nude at any time on their beaches. There were specific nude beaches where you have to be nude, but any other beach you could be nude if you wanted to. And so that was a little bit of a shock just walking down the streets near the beach because it would tend to be older men and women that would be completely nude. So that was something I wasn't used to, and it was a little different for me. But yeah, it was all a really great experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I didn't get that much financial aid to help with it, but it was also a lot more affordable than other trips. So I was able to manage with a loan that I paid throughout the time until I ended college, and I actually was able to pay it off within 6 months of after graduating college.